So you got the King James, you got the New King James, you got the ESV, you got the NIV, you got the NASB, you got the NLT, you got the NRSV, and the list goes on and on and on and on. When is the madness going to stop? So why are there so many different Bible translations? And what's the difference between the Bible translations? And which Bible should I read? These are all questions I get asked all the time, and I'm going to try to answer them for you today. You may or may not be surprised by this, but there's over 50 English translations of the Bible out there today. So why are there so many? We need to understand that there's not different versions of the Bible, there's different translations of the Bible. The Bible was originally written in Greek and Hebrew, so they translate the original transcripts over into English. And when they do that, the words don't necessarily match up word for word all the time. It's best to think about it like this. Foreign diplomat coming into the United States, he's going to use a translator to speak to us.
This is a violation of UN Security Council resolutions, and it has threatened the safety of a commercial airliner. Pyongyang should stop its provocations.
So as the translator is translating the words that this diplomat is saying, each translator would say the words slightly different, but the translator would have the exact meaning that the diplomat wanted to speak to us, even though each translator may have different wording that they use. So it's the meaning that comes across that's always the same. And when we translate the Bible from the Greek and the Hebrew into English, each person that translates the Bible may translate it slightly different. So what are the differences in the Bibles? There's two primary types of translations. There's a word-for-word translation, which is exactly what it sounds like. The translators try to get the exact same words in English as they have in the Greek and the Hebrew transcripts. There's one minor flaw with this, is that not each Greek and Hebrew word translates directly into an English word. And also the other problem with this is that the sentence structures are sometimes different, so when you read these word-for-word translations, it can be kind of hard to read them. Some examples of this would be the King James Version, or the New King James Version, or the New American Standard Bible. The other type of translation is the thought-for-thought translation. And the thought-for-thought translation, the author or the translator is trying to translate over the ideas and the meaning and the emotions behind what the original transcripts are saying. So they're not necessarily worried about having a word-for-word translation. They'll use as many words as they need to convey the message that the author was originally intending it for it to mean. So the thought-for-thought translations tend to be easier to read. So which Bible should you read? I'm not going to answer that question for you. I'm just going to give you a few pointers. If you're kind of an intellectual type and you have a high reading level, you might want to go with a word-for-word translation like the King James or the New King James or the New American Standard Bible. These translations are going to translate it directly over from the manuscript as closely as possible as they can. But like I said, they're a little bit harder to read. So if you have a high intellectual reading level and you want to challenge yourself when you're reading the Bible, a word-for-word translation might be good for you. But if you're a new Christian or you just want to have the readability of the modern-day English Bible in your hand, you want to go for a thought-for-thought Bible like the NIV Bible or the NLT Bible or maybe the Holman Christian Standard Bible. But in the end, whatever Bible you choose, you need to actually pick it up and read it. So my prayer for you today is that whatever Bible translation you use, whatever Bible happens to be in your hands today, I pray that you pick it up and you read it and you digest God's Word. Next time we're going to talk about how we can know that the Bible is accurate and it's a historic book. Thanks for joining me.